So this is a Roland Atelier AT90R organ, electronic organ, and they were manufactured from 1999 until 2001. And the problem with them is that the glue inside the notes seems to be a bit dodgy. So this is a white note, and if you turn it upside down, it's got a weight here, and it's glued on with some kind of dodgy epoxy glue that has started breaking down. And this is a black note, and that has been repaired. The weight came off and it fell down, it slid down. Now to put these on, there's this bit here kind of clips, so when you undo the note you have to pull it forward, and the same applies here. And to get them off, what you do, you pull apart these two bits, you pull them apart and then you lift it up, and they're on a pin. And if you look at this pin, it's here. Let's go. So what we're going to do now, or next, is put these notes on. So that's the pin. There's 3 pins here, and then there's 3 switches here. You get 2 switches for each note, and then so what you're going to do is put the black note in first. Now, so the spring on this is a bit like a biro spring, and you have to put it on this. There's 3 little bits, and you have to put it on the middle pin. That's the first thing you do. The next thing you do is you put this down here, and then you push it forward like this. Then it goes over the spring onto the spindle, and then you just press it. All the black notes appear to be the same, but they have got numbers, so it's probably best to keep to the numbering that they have, and therefore you need to make a note of where the position of each note when you take it off. So the problem with the black-white notes is if the glue drips off here, then it just drips onto the wooden bit under the keyboard, so that doesn't really matter. But if it's on the black note, it drips onto the metal bit, and it can stick where the felt is there, or the weight can fall down and then it stops you moving the black note. Now we're going to put the white note in, and so the first thing is to put the spring in again, and that's done. The next thing is to put this bit under the metal where there's 2 holes again. Something sounded iffy there, that's okay. And that's in. And if you've got a bit of resistance compared to the other one, then check that the thing has clipped on properly. So now the last note, you get the spring, put the spring in, put those 2 things, line them up with those 2 holes there, like that. That's not right, that's it. Put it there and then press it again. And that bit's done. So the next thing we're going to do is put the whole thing back together now. So the first thing is how this keyboard at the bottom or manual is connected. There's 2 wires there, and then there's 2 belt cables here. And what I did, I put a cloth here to protect the belt cable from being damaged, because it's directly, the metal from this keyboard is directly on it. And now the next thing will be to put it back as it was, which is more or less like this. So we've put the bottom keyboard in its correct position, and if you look there, there's holes at the back and they line up with holes in the bottom piece. And this aluminium foil here, it looks like it's there to prevent static electricity, and on this bit here the aluminium seems to be a bit damaged, so it's probably an idea just to put a bit more foil like this to make a better connection in case it's needed. And now we're going to put 6 screws at the top. For some reason the screw on this one is longer than the others were, and then I think it's 7 screws, 6 or 7 screws that go underneath here to put the bottom of the keyboard in, and then the keyboard's put in. So the next thing is to put these ends on either end of the keyboard, and there's a silver screw there. All the previous screws were black, and then there's another screw that goes underneath it from underneath here. And then on the left hand side, where the main switch, no, where the other switches are, it's very important to put this earth cable back with the screw as it was, and again there's another screw underneath. Right, so the next thing is we're going to swing this top part of the console down, and we should note that there's 1, 2, 3, 4 screw holes which line up with 1, 2, 3, 4 holes on the bottom, and it's screwed from underneath again from where your knees are when you're playing the organ. So what we're going to do is turn it down now, gradually, slowly. That's it. So we've put our 4 screws from underneath the console, from under where your knees are, and now the next thing is to put this lid over the keyboard cover. You just put it over like this. Top keyboard, as I said, swung down, and it swings on this screw here which you can't see, and you've got another screw that goes in here to stop it swinging up so it stays in place. You can see that better on the other side, which is over here. So now I'll do one of that bit. And after that we're going to put the cover. There's on each side of this top there's a plate, and the pin from the top goes in there, and then it slides in. So that means you put this top on and then you slide it back, and then the place where you have the music books is lit up on this, and you connect this cable before sliding it in. And then there's going to be 4 screws, and that's the only 4 screws you could have, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, which we're going to put in once we've slid the thing back in. Okay. So I forgot to mention that unless you're feeling suicidal, you should disconnect the organ from the mains before opening it. Another thing is, if you don't disconnect it, you could drop a screwdriver inside or something like that, and then that could cause a short circuit and damage the inside. So now what we can do is just see if it works all right. And preset 4 is like a cathedral organ, so we'll try that one first. seems to work okay.